Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Star Wars Talk Tuesdays, the best day of the week. Why is it the best day of the week? Because it's the day of the week that we all get to sit around here and talk about Star Wars. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. It's a pleasure and an honor to see you guys again now. This show, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to hide it. It's exactly the same as the John Campea show, except all we do is talk Star Wars stuff, my favorite topic absolutely in the world to talk about. So, hey guys, this is how today's show is going to go. I've picked out a bunch of questions and topics that you guys have sent in to me. How do you get a question on Star Wars Talk Tuesdays? It's simple. Just email anytime to john@thejohncampeashow.com and make sure you put SWTT in the subject line, right? Once again, email john@thejohncampeashow.com and put SWTT, that stands for Star Wars Talk Tuesdays, in the subject line. Now, once I go through these topics and questions that you guys have sent in to me, we're doing Star Wars Talk Tuesdays live today. So there's a whole bunch of you guys watching live already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a few minutes at the end of the show to take some of your live questions. How do you get a live question into me? It's easy. Just tweet to me at John Campea. Send out a tweet, start your tweet with at John Campea, and I will pull up a bunch of live tweets near the end of the show to get to that. And today's show, the main focus is obviously about the brand new Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer that dropped last night. And a lot of the questions that you guys have sent in to me today have been about that. Now, I talked about the trailer a little bit on the John Campea show a little bit earlier today. A couple things I didn't mention though. One was a very noticeable absence from that trailer. And I didn't go back to watch it again this last hour or so when I thought about it. But tell me, for those of you guys who are watching live, or jump into the comment section and let me know. One of the characters they have really been pushing about for Star Wars The Last Jedi, going all the way back to Star Wars Celebration in April in Orlando, Florida, they brought out a brand new character and they introduced us to Rose. So this brand new character, Rose, and she's had a presence in some of the marketing. I found it interesting that in this trailer, I don't believe I saw Rose at all. I don't think I saw Rose one little bit. And what the other thing I kind of noticed upon my second and third and fourth viewing of the trailer was that it looks like Poe is on his own, this one. Because it seems like, okay, we've got Rey off with Luke. We've got, and she's also got Chewbacca with her and stuff like that. Finn, it looks like he's probably going to be doing something with Rose, if I understand that right. And from the trailer, it looks like Poe is just kind of doing his thing. So I've been suspecting for a while that Poe is going to have his own mission that he needs to accomplish and he's going to be looking after in this movie. And this trailer kind of hinted at that and suggested at it. I'm not 100% sure about that. But did you guys notice Rose in the trailer? Because I didn't see her there. Yeah, you guys are saying there, like Cameron Reed is saying, yep, no Rose, no Laura Dern either. Yeah, it seems they really are hiding Laura Dern from us at this point. Sharpshooter is also saying, yep, no Rose. So I guess I'm not the only one who noticed it. Rose was not in the trailer. Found that interesting. Obviously, the Snoke thing was very cool. Having the whole Luke thing, I've only seen power like this once before. Extremely interesting. I'm very interested in this trailer. Got my blood pumping. And a bunch of you guys are asking questions about the trailer. So instead of wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. And the first question that you guys have sent in today comes to us from Vaibhav Kapoor, who writes, "Hey John, I've always been one of those who thinks Kylo Ren can never be redeemed after killing Han. But after watching the new trailer, I've been thinking, what if Kylo's been the Manchurian candidate, Winter Soldier-esque, by Snoke since he was a kid? And Snoke will ditch him when he'll get the more powerful Rey. It'll be not about redemption anymore. What do you think? Thanks." Well, I mean, think of it this way. That kind of is the Sith way of doing things. And, I don't think Snoke is a Sith per se, but that is kind of the Sith way of doing things. Like, remember, the Emperor, he had, Dooku. But he was only interested in having Dooku till he found out, oh, look, there's this other kid who will be a more powerful apprentice in Anakin. Get rid of Dooku. Then he's only got Anakin as his apprentice, or Vader, until he's like, oh, Luke, it looks like you're going to be more powerful than your father. Kill your father for me. That's kind of the Sith way of doing things. Now, what we learned in The Force Awakens, if Han is to be believed, is that, Snoke has manipulated Kylo. We know this. Snoke has manipulated Kylo ever since he was a young boy. So that we know. I completely believe that there is some brainwashing going on here, some control, some manipulating, all that kind of stuff. Maybe in this movie, Kylo Ren realizes he's being a puppet and he decides to come back to the light. We know from The Force Awakens that Kylo Ren struggles with the light side still. Leia sensed the light side still in him, so it's still there. The question is, did he extinguish it by killing his father? Is that now done? Now, the trailer suggests, as he's bearing down and getting ready to shoot at something, that he's hesitating shooting. Now, whether or not he was actually about to shoot at Leia, because I think there was some trailer trickery in there. I think there was some editing being made to make the audience think he was about to shoot Leia, or whether he was about to do something else. It did make it appear that Kylo was hesitating, so maybe he's still struggling with that stuff. Don't know. We'll have to find out. But no, even if, this is the thing though, even if Kylo leaves Snoke because Snoke decides to get rid of him, that's not redemption. That still requires redemption. Snoke ditching Kylo or ditching Ben does not redeem Ben. That doesn't redeem him. He killed Han. Well, look, let's go beyond Han. He's killed a lot of people. He has straight up murdered a lot of people, a lot of innocent people. Let's not forget about the very first thing he does in The Force Awakens, comes out and kills an old man with his lightsaber. That's Kylo Ren. So even if Snoke ditches him and he realizes he's been manipulated and all that kind of sting, he still requires redemption. Snoke didn't make him kill Han. He chose to kill Han. He could have chosen not to, but he did. So he still requires redemption. Whether or not they're going to go in a direction of redemption, you guys in the comments section, you guys tell me, do you think in The Last Jedi we are going to get the beginnings or the completion of a redemption story for Kylo Ren? Or is he, nope, he's just a flat out bad guy now and he's going to be a villainous presence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Anthony Zarazua, who writes, "Big fan of the show. Thank you so much, Anthony. It gets me through college classes, so I'm glad it can be of help. My question is about the new Last Jedi trailer, specifically about the scene between Rey and Kylo. Part of me wants to believe it's some kind of force vision, like in Empire Strikes Back, similar to what Luke, I think you meant Luke instead of Look, what Luke went through on Dagobah. Maybe she witnesses this while training on Ahch-To. What do you think? And have a wonderful day." Yeah, so look, that's a great point. One of the big talked about scenes in the new Last Jedi trailer is that scene where Rey is holding out her hands and saying, "I need somebody to show me my place in all this." And then you see Kylo reaching out and taking her hand. The implications of that are huge. What could be going on in that scene? What is the context that leads us to that moment where Kylo Ren and Rey are standing there together? Rey, who was there and witnessed Kylo kill Han Solo, her hero. You know, they battled together. She tried to kill him in the Forest, almost finished him off in the forest on Starkiller Base. And now here they are face to face. There's so much intrigue around that. What leads to that? I think Anthony's got an interesting theory. I'm not saying I buy the theory, but I think it's very interesting. What if that is the same kind of moment that Luke had in the cave on Dagobah? Remember when Yoda sent him down into that cave and said, you know, your weapons, you will need them not, but just go on down there. He goes down there and he ends up having that vision of Vader. He cuts off the vision of Vader's head. The mask explodes and it's its own face underneath there and all that kind of stuff. What if this scene that we're seeing in the trailer between Kylo and Rey is something just like that? It's a vision in her training where she comes face to face with a vision of Kylo, and it brings up a whole lot of questions leading to her saying the line, "I need somebody to show me my place in all this." It's possible. I don't think that's what's happening. I don't think that's the case here. Although if it is, it would be very clever. And Anthony, mark this day, because if that is what happens, you are the guy that called it. You're the guy that called it. I don't think that's what's happening here, but it's certainly possible. What do you guys think? Do you think that what we saw in the trailer between Kylo and Rey is literal? Or do you think it could be like a vision sort of thing, like what Luke went through on Dagobah? Jump into the comments section and let me know your thoughts. Really interesting theory, Anthony. All right, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Thomas Adkins, who writes, "Hey John, big fan. Thank you so much, Thomas. Since watching all Star Wars content, I have always wondered, would my favorite character, Hondo, ever be in a live-action movie? I would pick Antonio Banderas to play him, and he could possibly be in the, and could he possibly be in the Solo movie?" Thanks a lot for the question, man. And Hondo, man, he appeared, made his first appearance, I believe, in the Clone Wars series, and then he became a semi-regular, popped up 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 episodes or less, can't remember exactly, in Star Wars Rebels. Interesting character at first. And your pick of Antonio Banderas to play him, you're right. Antonio Banderas could totally play Hondo. I mean, I almost feel like they took Hondo, the Hondo character, and said, now imagine he's an alien Antonio Banderas. That's kind of how Hondo plays. That aside, though, I think for a lot of people, I know I'm one of them, Hondo kind of warmed out his welcome with Star Wars Rebels. I thought he was an interesting character at first, and the way they were using him was kind of intriguing the first episode or 2 that they used him, but the more they used him, the more childish the character seemed. And it's a cartoon show. There's going to be childish elements, absolutely. Some are more mature elements, some are more childish elements. Forgive me, I just banged the microphone. So that's going to happen. But he also started to get more annoying. And then the last episode I remember seeing him in was that episode with the Ugnaughts. And that was just a horribly irritating episode. And I don't think we've heard from Hondo since. The long and the short of it is this, though. I feel like Hondo, the way they use him, I think he is an animation character. I think he's a character you can use in an animated series. I don't know with this character, the way they use him, that I think he would translate well to a live action character. I think he would come across as extremely annoying. Now, I could be wrong about that. And maybe there's a lot of you guys sitting at home right now screaming at your computer monitors at me. Go, what are you talking about, Campea? You don't know what you're talking about. Which is, not the first time people would say that. And that's totally possible. But from my point of view, I just don't see Hondo as a valuable live-action character. So no, I don't think we'll see him in a live-action thing at all, but you never know. What do you guys think? Would you be interested in seeing Hondo in a live-action, or do you think he works better in an animated series? Jump into the comment section, let me know your thoughts. All right, we're moving right along here. We get on now to the next question, and the next question today comes to us from Noah Lawson, and Noah Lawson writes, "Hi, John. I wanted to ask you a question about Rey and Kylo Ren's relationship." Oh, it's this Reylo, is that what they're calling it? Anyway, do you think that they could have a romantic relationship in the trilogy? In a way how Luke brought Anakin back to the light, Rey brings back Ben. I've heard you say you think Rey and Poe will have a thing, but judging from the films and novels, it doesn't seem like they're going in that direction. Well, thanks a lot for the question, man. And yeah, I mean, the big phrase that's floating around today is Reylo. Will we get a Reylo relationship here? Will we get Kylo Ren and Rey in, doing some romantic snuggling? I don't know. I don't think so. If they do, they're going to have to do a really good job convincing me about how that evolves. Because at least Rey hates him. Hates Kylo Ren. Desperately hates him. If they were to just if Rian Johnson were to just go, no, now she runs face to face with him and now she has feelings for him, that would seem like a bit of a stretch. So I would question that. But Rian Johnson is a master storyteller. If he thinks he's come up with a way to legitimately create a romantic bond between Kylo and Rey, that's always possible. I mean, we were just talking about that scene in the trailer, right? Where Rey is saying to Kylo, I need somebody to show me my place in this world. If it's not a vision, and it's actually happening, we could be seeing the beginnings of Reylo. We could be seeing the beginnings of that. It's totally possible. Now, a lot of you are now screaming at your screens, no, hell no, no Reylo. I get it. I see you guys in the comment section. At it all day is saying, hell no to Reylo. Hate is far from love. So, I mean, I think it would be a really tough pill for a bunch of people to swallow. I think it would. But look, it is absolutely possible. And it is absolutely possible. It's a possibility on top of a possibility. Could Kylo Ren be redeemed? That's a possibility. Could the avenue of that redemption be through Rey? That's a possibility. So you're starting to stack possibilities on top of possibilities. The truth is somewhere in the gray area, I'm sure, as it usually is. So it's possible. Never know, it's possible. But I'm just saying, if they do want to go that route, Rian Johnson is going to have to do one hell of a job setting it up narratively to be at all believable, because right now it's going to make a lot of us roll our eyes. So let's just wait and see what Rian Johnson has in store. Okay, guys, got 2 more questions, and then I'm going to go to the live chat board. Let's pull up the next one here. And the next one comes to us from Rob Stoneman, who writes, "Hi, John. Longtime fan, first-time questioner. Thanks so much for writing in, Rob. After the new trailer, how do you think it impacts the question of Rey's origins? When Luke says that he has only felt this kind of power once before, is there a possibility he is referring to Rey?" That's a possibility. Look, the assumption right now, here's the underlying assumption, that in the trailer, when Luke says, "I've only felt this kind of power once before and I wasn't afraid of it then, but I am now," the assumption is he's talking about Kylo Ren. And that, you know, Luke wasn't concerned about it, and now he regrets not being concerned about it, and now he's sensing that kind of power again in Rey, and now he is concerned about it. But what if what Luke is talking about, saying, "I felt this sort of power only once before," what if he is talking about Rey? What if he is talking about Rey as a child? Now, for those of you who've been watching me for any period of time, you know that I reject the notion that Rey is Luke's daughter. I do not believe at all that Rey is Luke's daughter. I just think everything in Episode 7 clearly points that she is not his daughter. I could be wrong, but I think everything in Episode 7 clearly points that she is not Luke Skywalker's daughter. That being said, I've always been open to the notion that Luke has had some sort of hand to play in her being on Jakku. I've always thought that's possible. Like, maybe he's not her dad, but maybe he sensed her in the universe, sought out her parents, found her, and realized this child could be a danger to the entire universe. We need to hide her away, and maybe he had a hand to play in hiding her. That's possible. I still don't know that I buy that, but it's definitely a possibility. I won't be surprised if they play that out at all. So, no, I don't think she is related to Luke in any way, but I do believe there is a possibility, a real possibility, that Luke had a hand to play in her childhood. So, what does this trailer tell us about her origins then? Couple things. To me, number one, I'm become more convinced than ever that her parentage is irrelevant. Remember, all throughout the tens of thousands of years of the Jedi Knights, the Jedis did not come from a lineage. They were just born to parents. The Jedis found them, brought them to the Jedi Temple, trained them as Jedis, and they never had offspring of their own after that. So Rey does not have to be the daughter of a Force user or anybody like that. She can just be a new child born sensitive to the Force. I think this trailer, for me, reinforces that more, that her parentage is irrelevant. Now, her parents might have an important role to play, but I don't think who her parents are significant in her having Force abilities. It might also point to the fact that maybe Luke does have something to do with the fact that she ends up on Jakku. We will have to wait and see. I'm not really sure about that, but it certainly does open a lot of interesting questions at that point. But here's the other thing. Remember we were talking a minute ago about stacking possibilities on top of possibilities on top of possibilities. Well, let's play that game for a second. If Reylo becomes a thing, then that actually suggests that she is also not a child of either Han Solo or of Princess Leia. Because I know there is a bunch of theories that, what if she's a child of Han Solo with another woman? What if she is the child of Han Solo and Princess Leia? What if she is the child of Princess Leia from another father? You know, there's been all these types of theories. I think if they do move in any type of direction with a Reylo, where they get romantically involved, that clearly points they're probably not, you know, they're not half brother and sister. Although Star Wars has never been shy about having brothers and sisters make out. So, I mean, so there's that too, I guess. I suppose I should keep that in mind. So, but again, it's that whole game of stacking possibilities on top of possibilities on top of possibilities. And the more possibilities we stack, the further and further away we probably get from the truth, right? So anyway, it's an interesting question. All right, let me move on now to the final email in question of the day, and then we will go to your live questions in the chat board. I know a lot of you guys have probably got a whole bunch of stuff to write in. So here we go. Next question up comes to us from Lauren Gonzalez. And Lauren Gonzalez writes, I wanted to shift the focus from the Last Jedi movie and talk about the canon novels. I love them, so I'm always looking to nerd out with somebody else who reads them too. So my question for you, what books/subjects are you hoping the novels we get between episode 8 and 9 will tackle? All right, thanks a lot for the question, Lauren. And one of the things I should point out is that there are two new, I mentioned this on the John Campea show a little bit earlier today, but there are two new Star Wars novels out right now. One is the Leia novel by Claudia Gray, who is the same author that did Lost Stars, which is one of my 3 best new Star Wars canon novels. She also did Bloodline about Princess Leia, which was a great novel. And that's the one everybody seems to be talking about. Everybody's talking about the Leia novel. But the other novel that is out right now that I actually prefer over the Leia novel is this new novel, Phasma. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't have high expectations for Phasma. I didn't think it'd be all that good. I just read it because it's Phasma. And I think it's a great novel. I love it. It really is. The author described it once a few months ago, and I thought she was just BSing. But the author describes the book as Star Wars meets Mad Max. And when you get into the book, it really is. And I'm loving it right now. And I think the reason I mention that about Phasma is because if you're asking me what topics do I want to see them cover, honestly, I don't even want to venture a guess. Because I never would have picked a Phasma novel. If you had asked me before, hey, what novel do you want to see them do? I never would have said, I want to see them do a novel on Phasma. I never would have said that. But they did it, and I read it, and I loved it. So right now, I'm kind of in that period, that phase. I also never would have thought they would do a novel on Tarkin. And that's one of the other big, great novels right now. I think the 3 best Star Wars novels, the new canon Star Wars novels, are Lords of the Sith, Tarkin, and Lost Stars. Lost Stars is so good. Anyway, so I'm just at that point right now where I'm like, I don't have a guess. I don't have a guess and I don't have a preference. I'm just eating up whatever Lucasfilm and their story group feels like churning out into novels, and I'm eating it up. And by the way, I got to recommend it, guys. Check this book out. I think you'll be happy if you did. And check it out on audio. Get the audiobook if you can, because they put so much production into their audiobooks. It's crazy with the soundtrack and sound effects and all that kind of stuff. They do a great job with it. So check it out if you can. So basically, to answer your question, I'm copping out. Whatever they want to do, I'm happy with. All right, guys, with all of that out of the way, I said I was going to save some time here at the end, and I've done just that to take some of your live Twitter questions. Once again, how you get a live Twitter question to me, just jump on Twitter, start out your tweet with @JohnCampea, and then send it off, and we'll see if we can get your question on here. So, okay, with that out of the way, let's get to the first Twitter question today, and I'm not screening these, so let's see what you guys got. RYXN8 writes, John, could Kylo actually be reaching out to Leia? She was seen in costume on set that day. I'm not quite sure what you mean by she was seen in costume on set that day. I honestly don't know what you mean. Could he have been, though, I mean, when we see that scene in the trailer, could he be reaching out to her through the Force? It's very possible. She is his mother. She is also a Force user. So he would have a deeper connection with her than probably with anybody else in the universe. All right, let's see. What else is next? TK421, of course, the great Stormtrooper guard. JM Rose writes, John, do you think Snoke is Luke's daughter? Thanks. Yes. And his second cousin, if I'm not incorrect about that. Let's see. Next one comes to us from Norak Co. writes, John, do you ever think we'll see more lightsaber colors outside of red, blue, green, and purple? Well, I mean, in Rebels and in some of the Star Wars stuff, I believe we've seen white. I believe we've seen yellow. So I know we've already seen a few. I guess the question you could be asking is, do I think we'll ever see more in the live action movies? Don't know. Don't know. I don't think we're about to have a new army of Sith and a new army of Jedi. So I'm not quite sure. I think we'll probably, in the live action movies, probably stick with the traditional blue, red, and green. I think those will probably be the three, but never know. Maybe Ahsoka Tano does show up in one of the live action movies and she wields her white lightsaber, but I don't think we're going to get into any crazy, like I don't think we're going to see a brown lightsaber, for instance. I don't think we're going to see a plaid lightsaber or a fuchsia or a salmon colored lightsaber or anything like that. I think the ones they've got, they're probably going to stick with. Let's see here. Next one comes to us from Kylo Benna, who writes, John, what do you like more? Puppet Yoda via 1999 or CGI Yoda? Well, pardon me. It all depends on the scene. Because in close-up dialogue shots, I prefer Puppet Yoda. I do. In close-up puppet shots. In anything that requires movement, though, like there are some puppet shots of Yoda, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing, like stuff like that, then I actually prefer the CGI stuff. I think the CGI looked really good with that kind of stuff. And then obviously, when it comes to action, absolutely CGI. Look, I know people who like the prequels, who hated the Yoda lightsaber stuff. I hate the prequels. And I love the Yoda lightsaber stuff. I love Yoda's fighting style and Yoda's fighting technique for that little guy. Because you think, a guy this tall cannot be having traditional style fighting with a guy 6 times his height and weight and strength, right? The Yoda fighting style against Count Dooku, I think, was awesome. And then, of course, his style against the Emperor as well, I think were great. So, yeah, I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh, I hate the CGI Yoda. No, I appreciate the CGI Yoda in the right context and at being used the right way. I like the CGI Yoda. Let's see. Next one comes to us from another one from Norak Co, who writes, John, would you ever consider doing a second Star Wars talk during the week? I don't think so. Because the fact of the matter is, on the John Campea show, we talk about Star Wars topics once in a while on the John Campea show, and then we have an entire show dedicated to Star Wars on Tuesdays. So I don't know if we need another one. But, I mean, hey, if enough people ask for it, enough people demand it, then it's probably something I'd consider. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this one comes from Baby Carrots 94, who writes, John, do you think that Snoke was talking to Rey and not Kylo Ren at the beginning of the new trailer? That is definitely a possibility, because we see at the end, I think Snoke has got Rey like crunched over in pain and stuff like that. So it's very possible that there's a little bit of misdirection going on with the trailer. The trailer leads us to believe that Snoke is talking to Kylo. What if he's actually talking about Rey and talking to Rey while he's got her prisoner? Totally a possibility. I still think he's talking to Rey, or sorry, to Kylo, to Ben Solo. I believe he's talking to Ben. But if we watch the movie and it turns out it's Rey, I'm not going to go, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming. I think it's totally possible. I think it's a solid 35% chance. I'll go, it's a 65% chance he's talking to Kylo, 35% chance that he's talking to Rey. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? The next one is from Bob05232357, writes, John, will Rey make her own lightsaber or just use Anakin's? I've got a feeling she's going to use the one that she's already got. Because remember, Luke already has another one. Luke built another lightsaber. If you understand the training of the Jedi, then you know that building your own lightsaber is an important part of the training of a Jedi. So it's possible Luke has her build her own, but everything we've seen in the trailer looks like she's got Luke's old lightsaber, aka Anakin's old lightsaber. It looks like that's the one she's using. I suspect that's the one she'll have throughout the rest of the series too. Okay, we got time for just a couple more. This next one comes again from TK421. John, do you think we will at least hear Obi-Wan in The Last Jedi? Don't know. I'm going to go 50-50. 50 coin toss on whether or not we hear Obi-Wan. I mean, Ewan McGregor has been seen around Lucasfilm a lot these days. They brought him in to do at least a little bit of voice work for The Force Awakens, for the dream sequence, or at least for the Force Vision sequence, I should say. We know they're looking at doing an Obi-Wan movie. It's quite possible. I can't, I think it's too close to call. I think it's absolutely too tight to call. So I'm going to say that's a coin flip. Absolutely, it's a coin flip. All right, next one. Jose HJR writes, John, will you be upset if Kylo does pull the trigger in that scene in the trailer? Well, I mean, it all depends. There have been a lot of arguments that have been made that that scene is kind of a trick, that he's not actually bearing down on Leia, that maybe he's bearing down on something else. So it all depends. Look, I can't say I'll be upset if he pulls the trigger when I don't even know the context. Maybe I'll be watching, and once I see it in context, I'll go, oh, damn, I hope he pulls the trigger. Like, who knows? No idea. So I cannot say whether or not I would be upset at this point until I see the movie and get a sense of what it is that the context is. All right, next tweet comes to us from Patrick Maness, who writes, John, do you think Snoke could be a hint? Let's see. John, do you think that Snoke could be a hint later movies will go towards the Old Republic? Nah, I don't think Snoke is clearly old. I don't think he's that old. Do I think Star Wars and the Star Wars universe will eventually get to Old Republic stuff? Absolutely. I'd be shocked if they didn't already have plans, but I don't think that Snoke has anything to do with that. I don't think Snoke points us in that direction. All right, two more questions. This one comes to us from... I hit the wrong button. This one comes to us from Takiz, who writes, John, is the Rey Snoke scene from the trailer something like the Luke Vader on Dagobah scene? Well, we were just talking about that. It is possible. Anthony had that theory, and if it turns out to be right, he gets to call dibs on it. All right, and the final question of today is one we hear a lot. This one comes to us from TorpedoBot95, who writes, John, do you think Hayden Christensen will be in Episode 8? I do not. I don't, however, I believe there is a greater chance today that he will be in Episode 8 than there was prior to Star Wars Celebration. Because remember, it surprised a lot of people that Hayden Christensen came and showed up and was there live and on stage at Star Wars Celebration. And I'm happy for the good Canadian kid that he was able to show up and receive some love, because he's gotten a lot of crap from people over the years. And he's not the one who wrote the script for the prequels anyway. So it was really nice to see him there. It was really nice to see him get a lot of love from the audience. I think that was a long time coming, and it was good to see. So, hey, if he shows up there, maybe it's possible he's got a little thing to play. I don't think so, but one never knows. All right, guys, that will do it for this week's installment of Star Wars Talk Tuesdays. Thank you guys so much for being here and being a part. And let me know if you like that this show was live, or let me know if you prefer Star Wars Talk Tuesdays pre-recorded as I normally do them. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments section below. Also, let me know if you want more Star Wars talk throughout the week. Maybe we should also have Star Wars Talk Friday. I don't know. Listen, guys, while you're here, take a second, click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything I got going on here. And also, I didn't do this in the middle of the show, but let me do my little shameless plug here. If you like the content I produce, as you guys know, I decided to leave the corporate overlords. I no longer work with the corporations. I didn't like them telling me what to do and how to do this stuff. So I'm doing it on my own, but that means I rely on my Patreon supporters to make these videos possible. Do me a favor, check out www.patreon.com/John Campea. Take a look at all the information about what it means to be a Patreon supporter and all the advantages of being a Patreon supporter. And maybe you'll want to become a Patreon supporter too. If you do, that's awesome. I'm very grateful to all those of you who already are. I'm extremely grateful. And if not, that's totally fine too. I'm just happy you're here participating in some Star Wars talk with some fellow Star Wars fans. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this round of everything. I love doing Star Wars Talk Tuesdays. Maybe I should look at making the show an hour. I don't know. I'll be back again next week, but of course, I got more videos coming out later today. I'm going to be doing The Flash later tonight. For those of you who are interested in doing The Flash, check that out a little bit later. I got a couple movie reviews coming out in the next couple days. Keep your eyes open. That will do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.